Hello there and welcome to, well, nature, I suppose. I'm out here testing a camera, and the camera I'm trying out today is the Nikon D90, which is a prosumer DSLR from the year 2008. On the outside it's very similar to its predecessor, the Nikon D80 from 2 years prior. But of course the big difference is that this camera has a 12.3 megapixel CMOS sensor, while the Nikon D80 had a 10 megapixel CCD sensor. And there is one more big change. It has live view and also a video mode, which was a first for DSLRs. So this is, well, the first DSLR which had a video mode. But unfortunately it's really nothing to get excited about, but I'll get back to that later in the video. As I mentioned, it's very similar to the Nikon D80, at least on the exterior. And well, the grip is very good on the camera, and also it's quite light. So compared to, let's say, the Nikon D200 or D300, it's much lighter. And the controls are very nice as well, because you have you have two control wheels, one here on the front and one on the back there. So you can use those to change the shutter and aperture. Changing the ISO is not as convenient, unfortunately, because you have this ISO button here on the back, which you need to press and then rotate one of the wheels. So it's not very fast, and it's sort of, if you have the camera to your face, it's a bit difficult to do sometimes. Also, it does not have as many dedicated controls like the Nikon D200 and D300. So yeah, it's a bit, well, smaller and lighter package compared to those cameras. The viewfinder is quite typical for APS-C DSLRs, and the screen is actually quite good. Let's put it on and see what, let's put the camera on first, and I can show what photos I have taken here. And there's something in the dark, but if you go forward, there is some. So the screen is definitely good enough for reviewing the photos. And well, where is the menu, for example? There is the menu, and the menus are quite nice and easy to read as well. Typical Nikon menus, I would say. Yeah, and with this info button here, you can put on the settings on the screen while shooting, but there's also a information screen here on the top. So I rarely use the info on the back screen. This is more than enough for seeing your settings. Also in the viewfinder you can see the basic exposure settings. So it's definitely a very capable camera, very well designed. Not as advanced as the pro level cameras, but yeah, it's more than enough, for example, as a beginner level camera. And for casual shooting as well, I would say. So for the lens, now I have mounted a Sigma lens, a 17 to 50mm 2.8. I would say that this camera is sort of designed for the AFS lenses, but you can use AFD and AF lenses because it has this screwdriver autofocus. Also, you can mount older manual focus lenses like the AI and AIS, but you will not get the aperture information because there's no, like, this aperture indexing tab is missing from here. So yeah, so this camera is best with autofocus lenses, I would say. Let's actually have a look at the mirror. You should not, of course, shoot the camera like this open outside, but this is for demonstration purposes, I would say. Quite okay sound, I would say, yeah. Getting very burned out photos there. Yeah, there's not so much more to say about the design. It's a very solidly designed DSLR camera, very, let's say, modern feeling, even though it's like a camera from 2008. It's not that different from, let's say, later DSLRs. So let's have a look at the video mode. It's not apparent at all how to start the recording because there's no recording button up here. Also on the mode dial, there is no, like, recording setting there. Just the typical settings. So yeah, you have to first go to the live view mode, like so. Yeah, there you can see the live view, and then you press the OK button here to record. And yes, now I'm recording. And well, the video on this camera, it is 720p at 24 FPS. I think I have to double check the FPS amount. But yeah, so it's kind of low resolution, at least for today's purposes. Like, at least HD would be nice. But I mean, that's not the big issue here. Like, this video mode is not very usable overall because, well, first of all, as I mentioned, this, well, way to access it is not as straightforward because you have to go through this live view. You cannot just press a record button. And also, secondly, the focus, it will not autofocus while recording. So you have to focus here in the live view mode first, and it does not have a touch screen. Let's not try that. So you have to focus in the live view first, and then you press the record. so using manual focus is much more convenient on this camera. And well, what more, there is no microphone input, I think. Let's actually double check. At least here there's no microphone input, so you have to use the mono microphone in the camera itself. And there is also no like internal body stabilizer. This lens does have a stabilizer, so there's at least that. So well, I would not recommend getting this camera for the video, because it's not that usable. It's a lot of hassle using it. I mean, of course, if you don't have anything else, then you can probably manage somehow, but I mean, a modern smartphone will create much better video, or is much easier to use than this camera. Yeah. So what about the image quality? Well, it's actually quite good, even though the resolution would be considered low by today's standards, like 12.3 megapixel. I mean, it's still quite enough for even making larger prints and so on. It's not bad at all. It's a quite good level of resolution, I would say. And also, if you're posting on social media, then it's definitely enough for that. Yeah, at least for casual shooting, it's a quite good resolution. From what I read online, the image quality is comparable to the Nikon D300. Well, I don't have a D300, so I cannot check that, but yeah, I do like the image quality on this camera. It's quite nice. Compared to the predecessor, the D80, well, I have not compared them side by side. I think I will do a different video for that, because it does require a bit more, let's say, in-depth analysis for that, and some more testing. So yeah, I would definitely say that the Nikon D90 is a very nice camera overall. It can be quite good for traveling, because it's very, well, light and, well, small. Okay, it's not that small if you compare to compact cameras, but it's not too big for being a DSLR either. And yeah, especially if you go to some more risky location, it can be quite nice for that, because you don't have to worry so much about the camera. Yeah, and also this camera is in very nice condition. It's not so much use, I suppose. It can also be quite nice as a beginner's camera, because you have, well, what you need basically to learn photography. So yeah, for that is quite good. Hello and welcome again. This time I'm in the middle of the forest and I'll do some well, macro shots in daylight. I'm trying to find some good shaded area with some interesting subjects, but it's not so easy. It's quite harsh sunlight today. Well, there's something. I'll just start with whatever I find to get at least the settings set and see what I can do. Well, I have changed to the normal lens now to do some more wide-angle shots. I don't have the ultra-wide-angle with me today, but yeah, I got a bit bored of that lens. I want to use a more normal lens for a while, normal wide-angle. and it's really hot and the sun is so strong. It's like 26 degrees today, beginning of September. Quite abnormal weather, I would say. I also shot with the Nikon D100 on this part, so I can compare the colors a bit. Actually the D100 has a bit of a, let's say, more stronger reds. So the photos, if you edit them the same, the D100 has like, they have a red tint compared to other newer Nikon cameras. But in any case, let's just start taking the photos already. This looks quite nice, even though it's like harsh sunlight. Yeah, just have to wait for these waves to disappear so I get a more flat water surface. It is so hot here. Not at all what I expected. Yeah, it's much nicer to shoot in evenings and nights because it's not so hot and not so strong sunlight then. I really need to go and get into the shade now. But yeah, I think this is all for this video. So thank you for watching, and well, see you in my next video. Okay, there it is. I was about to forget my macro lens in the forest. Oh well.